It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
So let's say every day you go to work, there's somebody in your office that is flossing loudly, and it's kind of nasty. You've already asked them to stop or maybe do it in the bathroom, and they won't comply. What's your next move? This came up earlier in Tuesday's show. I want you to hear the responses coming up in a couple of seconds. Here comes our podcast. Have you ever stolen anything from a restaurant?
I've never stolen anything from a restaurant.
I took salt and pepper shakers once.
I took silverware once because I had asked for plasticware because we were leaving, and I knew that we were leaving and we'd want it in the car because we were on a road trip. And that, I mean, they just kept ignoring. I asked for it maybe 4 or 5 times, and then I was like, whatever, I'm just going to take this off the table, and we left. So I didn't feel good about it, but I did it.
I took the big metal salt and pepper shakers once for my barbecue.
Didn't your dad do that a bunch?
My dad did that a lot. He thought it was part of the bill.
This is a learned trait.
So it made me start thinking. I have a friend from college, and a lot of my college buddies, my wife has got this. You can see him once or maybe twice a year. We don't want him around because you're a different person. And it's like Frank the Tank. I kind of turn into that sometimes. And so I'm on the phone with him the other day. He called. I was at baseball practice. I was just shagging balls. And we get into a conversation. He's like, dude, I was at this TGI Fridays, and I took something off the wall. Mm-hmm. And he's the kind of guy that always has like a buck knife on him and one of those like multi-tools.
Oh, just in case.
So he unscrewed it from the wall at the TGI Fridays for his grandmother. Mm-hmm. Who does a lot. She collects a lot of things like knickknacks and stuff like that. Okay. And he gave it to Grandma. And it got me thinking, like, those things are screwed to the wall for a reason because of people like us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could simply hang them with a nail and people wouldn't steal stuff.
I'm surprised those restaurants that have dollars everywhere. Like, we went to a really cool wood fireplace when we were in Winter Park, Colorado. And floor to ceiling, even the tables underneath the glass, all dollar bills that people would leave behind and sign.
Sure.
And then there's one place that I went to with a friend in Arizona, and wall to wall dollar bills that you sign, and then you can go back and see it. I'm surprised those aren't like somebody bringing a staple remover and just taking a bunch of money every time.
But if you're going to go dollar for dollar, that's kind of a silly motion. So I thought I'd float this out to our audience this morning. No judgment. But have you ever stolen anything off the wall or from a restaurant? I mean, they've got the best pizza slicers. I would probably take one of those.
You can actually buy stuff. Like if you go to the Olive Garden and you want one of those cheese graters, they'll sell one to you.
How much?
I don't know. But I know you can ask and they will.
The question this morning is, have you ever stolen anything from a restaurant? Talked to John a couple of seconds ago. He's been panting pint glasses, I guess.
So I want to know why your friend thought to call you right away. Was this a challenge that you guys?
It was just kind of like a weekly check-in. Yeah. And then it evolved into that. I said, so what's new? What do you do? Oh, you got to see what I got for my grandma. And then he texted me the picture of it. This is like knick-knack off the wall of a TGI Fridays. Yeah. And I'm like, who the hell is prepared to steal? He unscrewed it with his little like Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
I'm like, good God, we're way too old for this, but apparently not. Aaron, what'd you steal, bro?
Yeah. I actually, I was in Dallas at an Applebee's, and I saw this 2-foot Gumby, and my aunts, they love Gumby, so I took it. I had to.
Dude, I'm so into Gumby. I have a Gumby tattoo on one of my arms, and I have a Pokey tattoo on the other. And I've never seen anything like that because I think I would be that kind of guy. Like, I'm not a thief, but if I saw like a 2-foot ceramic Gumby on a wall, I think I'd have to have it.
That's exactly what you are. Like, I saw a sweater at Target the other day that my mom would love. I didn't take it.
Well, that's Target, though. That's all right. You'd have to buy that.
This belongs to the restaurant.
I'm sure you paid your bill, right? You probably should be able to take something off the wall.
Oh, my God. Do not even put that out there.
And how do you sneak out a 2-foot Gumby, by the way? Like, you didn't pants this, did you?
I looked both ways, made sure I was sweating.
And last question, did your aunts even appreciate the effort? Like, you could have went to jail for this.
No, I thought they would love it. I thought it was a great story, a great Gumby. And they just kind of said, okay, thanks.
Tell me something good.
Something good happening in my life today. I have nothing, so I can get myself better. No, I'm not pregnant, despite what
you
JJ
don't know,
wants
though.
to say.
There's not a 0% chance.
You can't tell people that. on the radio.
You can guarantee me there's a 0% chance you're not pregnant.
I can guarantee you that there's a 0% chance. All right? Big donut. And that is what's good.
Good news in this woman's life.
Your toes are ratchet. I'm getting you together. Don't be mad at me. Okay? You would love your nails. They're pink. Pretty pink. And you would love them.
All right. You want to hear the story behind that? You ready? You got to get some Kleenex. So that woman's name is Danielle. And she posted on her TikTok, her best friend, her cousin Amanda, was about to be taken off life support the next day.
Oh, no.
And her cousin loved having her nails done, looking great. So she went in and made sure that she looked phenomenal, and it's just stories like that. It doesn't have to be somebody saving the world, but just doing something like that because they know that their cousin would love it. It's a big change in their life.
How do you feel about them putting that on socials? That seems like an intimate moment between two people.
It didn't show a body part at all. It didn't show the feet. It just showed the cousin doing it.
I know, but that's, I don't know how I feel about this. Part of me is like, if it encourages people to do good things, great. But if you're just looking for clicks and likes, then I'm really not a fan of that.
I didn't look at the video and think that, It wasn't like the dead hand holding the hand. That makes me feel a certain way. But if that's how you want to heal, who am I to say don't do it? But that is what's good for her.
Tell me something good.
Hey, Steven, can you tell us something good, bro?
Steven.
Right now, new relationship.
Ooh, I like
Nice.
that. How far into it are you?
About 2 months.
Where'd you meet her?
I actually met her. We're both actors, and she played my wife in a film.
No way.
So that's how I met her.
Oh, that's the coolest story. Okay, so you see how this could happen, like with Brad and Angelina, right? Because you make that connection on set, and then you're like so intimate, and you have to pretend. Ooh, that's scandalous.
Plus, you've probably seen her at least half naked already, right?
I did get full.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Bingo. How fun.
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo.
All right, time for my favorite part of the show. It's called Listener Bingo. Call immediately if you're somebody listening who
has ever found a long lost relative, like a sibling. You want to play this? This is just incredible.
So I was driving Uber late one night. I get a request from someone named Jalen. My older brother's name was Jalen too. It's been over 20 years since I've seen him. He got taken by foster care when I was 7. Pull up. He gets in. Didn't recognize him at all. About 10 minutes in, he looks out the window and says, "Man, I haven't seen this part of the city since I was a kid. Used to live off Boone Street till foster care took me when I was 9.
Oh.
That was our street." Then he says, "I had this little brother who used to steal my cereal and hide under the laundry basket like I wouldn't notice." That was me.
That's
you
crazy.
Imagine. And that's fate. That's a divine intervention stepping in, making sure this car shows up for him. It's just an incredible story. So you had somebody, a long lost relative, come back into your life.
I'm looking for something you found as well, like money. You found a buttload of it. This is a really good feel-good story from a postman who was just delivering mail, saw a $10 bill in the driveway, took it back up to the house.
The way it was positioned, it looked like it fell out of their pocket when getting into the car. Because nobody came, I left a note just so it wouldn't fall to the bottom of the box.
So he goes to the Ring doorbell, hits it, nobody's home. He leaves the money for the people. So, man, how is that not a finder's keeper situation when you're a postal worker?
Yes, he's a very, very good human.
So we're each looking for somebody listening who has found something, but yours is a little different.
Yeah, has found a human, like a long lost relative.
Let's bring Doug on the show. Good morning, Doug. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great. Us too. Thanks for asking. Which one do you fit?
I found a good chunk of money.
How much?
So I was on a vintage snowcat ride a few years back, and we were leaving town, and we were moving pretty fast. The guy in front of me kicked up some trash. And out of the corner of my eye, it looked like the money.
Oh no, your phone's breaking. Okay.
I had to go check. Turned around, went back, $100 bill.
There it is. How many?
Couple feet away, another $100 bill.
No.
Another $100 bill. $1,300 was in the ditch.
Wow.
Let's go.
So what do you do
And
with it
then
next?
fortunately, unfortunately, the guy's wallet was also right there.
Oh, you did the right thing.
And I looked him up on Facebook, and I found him and gave him his wallet back.
Please tell me he gave you at least a tip for this.
Yep, $100.
Okay, well, that's
nice.
it's a free $100, and you did the right thing. You got some good karma out of the deal.
So,
Yeah.
Did he,
well, you're a good human. And I just look at it like it's such a headache when you lose your wallet. The canceling of the cards, the worrying somebody's going to steal your identity.
Yeah, my question was going to be, did he say how long he had lost it for? Like, how long had that been laying in that ditch?
well, he was also on the vintage ride. It fell out of his pocket while he was snowcatting.
Gotcha. So it was like maybe hours at the most, probably, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Good for
you.
you.
All right,
Good
for
karma.
you. Yeah, that is good karma, man. I appreciate you checking in. These are great stories.
Bingo! How fun!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo. Bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo! Bingo!
All right, for long lost listening bingo, are you a long lost what? So we kind of both are looking for something found this morning. Kat's looking for anyone listening
Who has found a long lost relative or a sibling that came back in your life? That Uber driver that picks up this guy and he's like, well, he has the same name as a brother of mine that was put into foster care and haven't seen him in 20 some years. And then all of a sudden, all these pieces come together and they're like, oh my gosh,
This is
we're
such a
brothers.
cool story.
Yeah.
So I was driving Uber late one night. I get a request from someone named Jalen. My older brother's name was Jalen too. It's been over 20 years since I've seen him. He got taken by foster care when I was 7. Pull up. He gets in. Didn't recognize him at all. About 10 minutes in, he looks out the window and says, man, I haven't seen this part of the city since I was a kid. Used to live off Boone Street till foster care took me when I was 9. That was our street. Then he says, I had this little brother who used to steal my cereal and hide under the laundry basket like I wouldn't notice. That was me.
That was
Now, how do you explain that? How do you
Fate.
possibly explain you two having this moment after all that time? Incredible.
I'm looking for anyone listening who found a good chunk of money. This mailman found money in the driveway, didn't take it, decided to give it back to the family.
The way it was positioned, it looked like it fell out of their pocket when getting into the car. Because nobody came, I left a note just so it wouldn't like fall to the bottom of the box.
And he just rang the doorbell. Nobody showed up. He gave him back the money. I was like, man, that's a trustworthy postal worker. So good morning, Amy. Which one do you fit?
I have a long lost half sister.
Okay. How'd you find them?
My aunt and I decided to find her. This was back in '96 after my second son was born. And we pretended to be a friend from high school because it was not in great split from when my dad and her mom split up. So I pretended to be somebody from high school. She called me and I told her who I was, and she basically told me where to go, and I haven't talked to her since.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I was really thinking this was going to end up as a happy
Well, I
story.
can only imagine that her mom had a lot to say about you guys and kind of poisoned her mind, which is sad. You know, you should always let somebody make up their own mind about someone. But
right.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
I tried.
Yeah.
I mean, you gave it your effort, and you got a couple extra organs floating around there if you want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way you got to look at it.
Sounds like she's ready to hand him over.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I appreciate your thoughts on this. Hi, Steph. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're great. Thanks for calling the show. Which one do you fit?
I fit yours, JJ.
Okay, what kind of money did you find?
Well, you know, it really wasn't a lot, but I was 12, and we were at Dairy Queen, and I had gotten out of the car, and we were walking up, and I ended up finding a $100 bill.
That's a lot.
But, yeah, it was a lot when I was 12. So, I mean, it got me, you know, a lot of ice cream.
Yeah, a lot of peanut butter parfaits out of that deal.
Yeah.
And you never found out whose money it was. It was just yours to keep.
Yep.
All right,
This
$100.
could have been a learning moment taught by your mom to you. She could have said, honey, somebody dropped that.
Right.
Let's leave it with Dairy Queen and see if somebody comes back. But your mom said, put it in your pocket.
God gave that to us.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's eat some ice cream.
Yeah.
Let's eat. I like that. Turn it into some soft serve. Thanks, Steph. I appreciate it.
We've got email.
All right, so I'm going to read you the email I got from Alyssa.
Okay.
She said, I can't usually call in and I'm at work really early, but I have a question for your listeners. I have a coworker that flosses his teeth at his desk all day long with those flossing picks. I hear him doing it all day long. It's super gross, unsanitary. I've asked him multiple times if he'd consider doing it in the bathroom, but he still does it at his desk. What do I do here? I don't want to seem whiny and contact HR if I don't have to, but it's very gross and loud. Plus, I think he uses the same flosser all week, and it just sits on his desk when he's not using it. I listen to you guys while I'm at work. Thank you. Unable to call. Alyssa, what's your move here?
Well, I think I'd need to see proximity to where he's doing it to her. Is it just a visual thing?
Well, it's got to be close enough that she can hear it. I mean, how often do you hear somebody flossing?
Yeah. I would maybe make little comments here and there like, oh, go to the bathroom and do that. You know,
like
until it's not a joke anymore. And then you're like, I don't like to watch people floss their teeth because you can see stuff scatter. And then all I see is maybe I put my hand there one day or it gets on my shirt. But
it's kind of like his spot, though, right? It's his area. It's his desk.
If it were a cubicle, I wouldn't say a thing. If it is like a desk-to-desk situation, you know, stuff can fly, then I'd have a problem with it. But if it's a cubicle, just kind of work through it.
I'm an oral hygiene kind of guy, so I don't want to discourage anyone from ever having better oral hygiene.
Yeah.
I think you got to bite the bullet on this one. I think you just got to kind of ignore it.
3267 texted, start flossing your teeth while he is, you'll have a cleaner mouth. So in that case, he'll probably do it more and say like, oh, I'm an influencer.
I inspired you.
I inspired you to clean your teeth. Wyatt says choke them out. That would be terrible.
Okay, let's not.
We're not going to do the violent route.
Jesus.
But it's any type of personal grooming is a no-go for me.
But makeup is fine.
Well, this makeup is fine for me, but this girl, Rochelle, from middle school, it was like a thing to do to have the Biore oil strips. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, I know
like
what you're talking about, sure.
And she would take them out of her bag every single day when we'd get to class, and she would just wipe it out, just oil pads after oil pads, and just put them in a clump on the front of her desk. And I just always thought that was really weird and gross to do it every day. I get your face is oily, but do it in the bathroom.
Every other day we get an email or a phone call about somebody who's got bad personal hygiene. And finally we get one about somebody who's trying to better their life a little bit.
We need to find the middle, though.
We're crapping on them.
Yeah.
Well, you got thoughts on this? Definitely hit us up. Do we know what's going bump in your basement?
We did find out. So in our bathroom in the basement, the vent goes outside. So if the wind kicks up, it's like like that. And so, I mean, we've heard that before, but it was kind of like a lower hum. So it sounded weird. And then it was Liam and I, we were up late. It was like 11 p.m. and we were watching Air Force One. So already you're like, you know.
Stress levels up.
Yeah. And so the Russians had taken over and it was like, And so when we heard that noise, I told Liam, don't worry about it. And then we heard a boo like that coming from where the furnace is in our laundry room. And that freaked us out. And I'm like, oh, our basement is not.
You didn't shove your 12-year-old down the stairs to go look?
No, and he would never. And
Same
I would
as you.
never. I just let it slide. I said, you know, somebody is going to get us in our house. It's going to happen. But then last night we were sitting there and it was darker and we had tucked Liam in. And then all of a sudden I heard this bang and I didn't know what room it came from. And I'm like, what could that have been? And we looked at each other and we started investigating a little bit on the main level. And I'm like, I think it came from upstairs. You better go check it out. And he's like, why don't you go check it out?
Why push him in front of the fire?
So you go check it out. And it ended up being his dumb mirror that has to be in our shower for when he shaves. And every year it'll fall because it comes.
Sure, the suction comes off.
Yeah. And so it just, aside from me hearing, I'm down here, I really won't go investigate because I don't want to find something that I don't want to see.
We have a water system since we have well water that regenerates.
Yeah.
And I'll hear that every night at about 10:30. And if I'm just getting to sleep, I'm at the point now where we've lived in our place for almost a year that now I know that it's that sound.
Yeah.
But I used to be up and down there all the time. I have this giant fear of any kind of water pipe breaking and flooding my home.
So that's your fear, not a person.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Listen, I can handle my own still. I'm an old man and I'm a little bit slower now, but I think I could still handle my own if that went down. And listen, you want to rob me, you better have a gun. That's the way I'm, because you come into my place unwelcomed, it's going down.
You're cooked. You got nothing to lose.
I want to bring Jade on the show real quick. You got a story for us?
So, funny story. Me and my sister, we own this house together. It's like a rancher, but we still have a basement, right? So it's one level, but there's still some rooms down below, and like that's really just where like the laundry stuff is, right? Like the washer and dryer.
Okay.
I only go down there to do my laundry, but I just kind of get the creeps whenever I'm down there. I always hear noises. I always feel like somebody's like watching me.
Okay.
And it's just not fun. My sister also says the same thing. She says she hears the same noises. It's just kind of creepy. You know, it's an old house. I really just thought it was just like settling. You know, it creaks, it cracks, whatever.
Right.
Maybe it's haunted, the very worst, right? But then my brother came over last week, and he had the balls enough to go down there. We told him not to, and, like, if he needed something from the washer, like, we would get it for him. But he just wanted to make sure that we were okay and safe. And tell me why there was a homeless man squatting in my house in one of the storage rooms downstairs. Yes.
There's a guy in your basement, and you didn't know about it?
For how long?
I didn't know. Me and my sister, I have no idea. There were a lot of, like, pea jars, a bunch of food wrappers, a bunch of bottles.
I can't even imagine.
Like butt, okay? It did not smell good. And we just kind of thought that was, like, a broken pipe sewage line or something. But it was a whole person. It was a whole person squatting in my house.
So you and your sister have been sleeping upstairs this whole time. This guy has been down in your basement, and you had no idea.
I had no idea. It could have been a serial murderer, and we would have no idea.
So what do? Do you call the cops or what?
Yeah, I called the cops, but by the time that we addressed him and I guess said hello, you know, to the new roommate, he left. You know, he kind of got spooked. He got
scared.
never
came back.
Dude, just on his way.
No. And I'd never seen him before, so it was just such a wild occurrence. And I'm curious to know how long he stayed in my home for free.
I don't know if you'll ever get that answer, but like you guys need to put some security measures in check now.
Time for some Arlo cams or something.
Yeah, definitely getting a camera.
Wanted to dedicate a little time this morning to your bump in the night stories. Kat's been hearing sounds downstairs. They finally figured out it was just their bathroom fan. We talked to Jade a couple of seconds ago, who found a guy living in her basement, squatting in her basement, jars of pee, food wrappers all over the place. They don't know how long he lived down there. Finally, somebody discovered him, and then he split.
How scary. What scares me is that you have two girls, sisters, living on the main level every single night, going to sleep. Something terrible could have happened if their brother hadn't gone downstairs and discovered this. And she's like, I wonder if we're ever going to get answers. You're never going to see this guy again. But that's just scary.
I bet he finds another place close, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
Shannon, you had a little something go bump in the night?
Yeah. So it was like 1 a.m. watching TV in the living room, pretty much all lights off. And the patio door slides open. And I look over at my husband. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And he's like, what is that? I go, I think somebody came in the door. He goes and looks, and this guy slid open our patio door and proceeds to yell, he's here to party, because he was very intoxicated.
He just was at the wrong house.
I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think he was in the wrong world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he proceeded to yell that, and my husband, we couldn't get him to leave. He was insistent that we were partying, and my husband had just recently been in a car accident, so he was in no shape to be able to, force him to leave.
Yeah.
So we ended up having to call the cops because he just wouldn't leave. He wanted to party.
Yeah, there are those people that they cannot handle drinking.
But
you know what I mean?
Let's rewind a second. Shannon, I'm sure you, Kat, I know you. I've seen you in this mode. I've been in this mode. When you want to party, you're just going to find someone to party with. You can't really blame him, right?
I've never been so drunk where if I were in a situation like that could turn dangerous for
Kat,
me,
I
like
saw
inside someone's house.
I saw you so
do?
drunk you were hanging out the side of a party bus, yelling at people outside of a bar, calling them derogatory names.
Allegedly. And derogatory is the wrong word to use because that insinuates something
Shannon,
like racist.
If you're standing outside a bar and you see a party bus go by and Kat's hanging out the front door.
I said, my ponytail looks like a
baby D. She goes, my ponytail looks like a baby D.
I had really short hair.
And no, that's want a party mode. That's what you were in. The guy was just looking to party.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if I was half lit up like he would, I've been like game on. But
Cops just haul him away, put him in the drunk tank. Is that what happened?
Dark.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, once he figured out that we called the cops, he split.
Oh.
And we
Sobered him up.
when he ran through our backyard, he clipped the fence and his shoe fell off. So he was running around with one shoe. He was all banged up because it was a barbed wire fence.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was a situation. It was wild.
That's great. I'm so glad you could share with us this morning. I hope you have a great day.